Hi there, this is Sam with Bulldog Rooter. Today I'm doing a video inspection of the main sewer line for 715 West 24th Avenue in Spokane, Washington. And I'm going to start pulling the camera back and explain some things about this pipe. So what I did was I found a clean out downstairs in the basement, and I threw my camera all the way out to the end of the sewer line. This is the connection to the city sewer. Right now is what we're looking at right here. And from what it was saying on the permit that I pulled up, it looks like this just goes out the side of the house and then straight to 24th. So yeah, I'll start pulling some things back and explain some things about this pipe. Technically, the homeowner is responsible for their connection to the city sewer and everything back, so from this point all the way back. And right now we're in 4-inch clay tile line, which is very, very normal to see on the South Hill. It's not necessarily a bad pipe. Little things that can go wrong with it is clay tile was usually put in about 2 to 5 foot sections, and what will happen is those sections will start to settle in the ground over time, and you'll see just the seams that are a little offset in some spots, and roots also like to intrude in those seams, which is normal. You just don't want to see large root growth to the point to where it's stopping up water and making stuff sludgy, and it can potentially create bigger holes inside the pipe the more you let them grow. And it can also make cracks in the pipe as well. So we just have a tiny little bit of root intrusion right there. Those are super tiny, nothing to worry about at all. So once again, very, very minute roots, and a little separating, just a tiny bit, but not too much. So right here we have a little bit of root growth. That's what we just pushed through. I pushed my camera through it earlier. And, honestly, that's not too bad. What I usually recommend for roots being inside of a sewer line is just to get them cabled out, every year, every other year, just to keep in maintenance. The longer you let them grow, the thicker and harder they are to get out of the line, the more issues they can cause with the actual line itself. So I think in this section right here, we switched from 4-inch clay tile to what's called 4-inch PVC, and what I'm thinking is that this specific spot started to settle a whole bunch, and they had to get it replaced. In this section they did what's called a spot repair, so they only replaced this section of PVC right here. But their repair looks, almost perfect. There's no issues with it at all, so that's really good. Pulling it back here, so we switch back from that white pipe back over to the 4-inch clay tile, which is what's going to be original to the property. I think it was put in about the 50s, if I remember correctly, when I looked on the permit. So yeah, just a little bit of settling there, not too much. Everything's looking pretty good. Pipe looks very, very clean. A lot of times we run into roots inside of a clay tile line like this, and it'll almost encase the whole entire pipe to where we can't even get our camera through it sometimes. But this pipe looks great so far. See barely any issues. There's no pockets of water holding, meaning that there's downhill grade. Everything flows downhill, obviously. And with that, if you see any pockets of water sitting, that means that the pipe is either flat or trying to go uphill a little bit just because of the settling and a couple other things. So yeah, just another seam right here, a little bit of root growth. Everything's looking pretty good though. Really tiny root growth. A little bit more roots. It's looking pretty good so far. I don't see any issues with this pipe. I don't see any cracks or any big separations in it. Fairly easy to get the camera all the way out to the sewer main, which sometimes it's not. It's always good when it's easy. A little bit of roots on that section. Not looking bad at all. Definitely one of the better tile lines I've ever seen. For sure, just from pushing through it and whatnot, I could kind of see what was going on. It's just a lot easier to get a look at things as you're pulling it back. So it looks like the sewer line itself was about 100 feet long, and we're hitting about 50 right now. A little bit more root growth. Those are all really small. Like I was saying, if you get this cabled out every once in a while, you're probably not going to ever see any issues with this. You know, it can happen. Realistically, it can, but as long as you keep up on getting these roots cut out, you should be all good. Yeah, seeing all these seams, I mean, every single seam looks perfect. You know, I don't see any issues with this. Right here, we got a little bit bigger of a root growth. You can see how it's encased in probably about half the pipe, but nothing major that's going to easily get cut out and get taken care of. You know, this is the only spot that I'd even be a little bit worried about, but water flow is probably enough to move those roots, just because of how easy I can push through them and whatnot. So I don't, you know, it's possible for stuff to get snagged up on it, but not very likely. It looks like my camera lens got a little dirty right there. There's a little bit of sludge sitting at the bottom of the line, which is a sewer line, so it's something to expect. Yeah, everything is looking great so far. We're just about through the whole thing. Here pretty soon what's going to happen is we're going to switch from the 4-inch clay tile to what's called 4-inch cast iron, which is going to be the stuff they use primarily inside the house. And it looks like they got most of it replaced inside the house, which is also good with the newer pipe. Looks like we go around a little turn right there. And then I'm expecting to go into cast iron right about now. There we go. So right over here is the clay tile, which is what we've been in the whole time, essentially, except for that PVC. And then we switch over to 4-inch cast iron. Now, what I normally look for with cast iron is just large amounts of rust debris. There's a little bit on the walls of the pipe and whatnot. It's not looking too terrible. And then just cracks and everything. And what we're looking at right there, that little like serrated edge we're almost looking at, is just the seam from the tile to the cast iron. And we'll see a little bit, but you know, it's a little rough, but not bad. Cast iron usually lasts a very long time, and it's still installed nowadays, so there's not too much issues with it. Here pretty soon we're going to be switching over from cast iron into what's called ABS pipe, which is what they put inside the house. And here is the ABS, and this is going to be us coming out of our clean out. And there's a picture of our clean out right there. Once again, that was Sam with Bulldog Rooter. And that is going to conclude your video inspection. Thank you.